The territorial expansion of the United States between independence and 1850 was one of the most significant developments in modern history. In less than 70 years, the nation expanded from a small group of states along the Atlantic coast into a continental power stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. This dramatic growth reshaped North America and permanently altered the political, economic, and social structure of the United States. By 1850, the United States had more than tripled its original size. This expansion occurred through land purchases, treaties, settlement, and war. It was driven by economic ambition, political strategy, population growth, and a powerful belief that the nation was destined to expand westward. The United States after independence, when the American Revolutionary War ended in 1783, the United States was a young and fragile nation. It consisted of 13 states located along the eastern seaboard of North America. The Mississippi River marked the western boundary of the country. The population was relatively small, and most Americans lived near the coast. Beyond the Mississippi River lay vast territories controlled by European powers and Native American nations. Spain controlled Florida and much of the Southwest, while France had previously claimed large areas of central North America. Great Britain remained powerful in Canada. Despite these challenges, American leaders believed that land ownership was essential for national survival. They viewed expansion as a way to secure borders, support farming, and increase economic independence. The roots of westward expansion, the desire for land, was deeply rooted in American society. Most Americans were farmers, and land ownership was seen as the foundation of freedom and prosperity. As the population grew, the demand for land increased. At the same time, many Americans believed that their nation had a special role to play in history. This belief later became known as manifest destiny, the idea that the United States was meant to expand across the North American continent. Although the phrase manifest destiny was not widely used until the 1840s, the belief itself existed much earlier. It shaped government policy and encouraged Americans to support expansion, even when it involved conflict or injustice. The Louisiana Purchase of 1803, the most important event in America's territorial expansion, was the Louisiana Purchase. At the beginning of the 19th century, France controlled a vast territory known as Louisiana. This land stretched from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains and from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. In 1800, France regained Louisiana from Spain. This alarmed American leaders, especially President Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson feared that a powerful European nation controlling New Orleans and the Mississippi River could threaten American trade and security. At the same time, France faced serious problems. Under Napoleon Bonaparte, France was engaged in costly wars in Europe and had lost control of its Caribbean colony after a slave revolt. Napoleon needed money and had little interest in maintaining distant lands in North America. In 1803, France offered to sell Louisiana to the United States. For $15 million, the United States acquired over 800,000 square miles of land. This single purchase doubled the size of the nation. Significance of the Louisiana Purchase: the Louisiana Purchase transformed the United States in several important ways. First, it secured American control of the Mississippi River and the port of New Orleans, which were vital for trade. Second, it removed the threat of European powers expanding in North America. Third, it provided vast lands for settlement, farming, and future states. Although President Jefferson worried that the Constitution did not clearly grant him the power to buy foreign land, he believed the opportunity was too important to ignore. The Louisiana Purchase marked the beginning of the United States as a continental power. Exploration and settlement: after acquiring Louisiana, the government sought to understand and explore the new territory. In 1804, Jefferson authorized the Lewis and Clark Expedition. Led by Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, the expedition traveled from the Mississippi River to the Pacific Ocean. The explorers mapped rivers and mountains, studied plants and animals, and established relationships with Native American tribes. Their journey provided valuable information and encouraged Americans to move west. Over time, settlers began traveling along major routes such as the Oregon Trail and the Santa Fe Trail. These movements laid the foundation for permanent settlement beyond the Mississippi River. Florida and the Adams-Onis Treaty. While the United States expanded westward, it also sought to secure its southern borders. At the beginning of the 19th century, Florida was controlled by Spain. Spain's influence was weakening, and the region became a source of tension. The U.S. government was concerned about foreign control so close to its borders, as well as conflicts involving Native American groups. In 1819, the United States and Spain signed the Adams-Onis Treaty. Under this agreement, Spain ceded Florida to the United States. The United States gave up claims to Texas temporarily. Clear boundaries were established between U.S. and Spanish territory. Florida officially became part of the United States in 1821, strengthening national security in the Southeast. Native Americans and forced removal. As American settlers moved westward, Native American nations faced increasing pressure. Native tribes had lived on these lands for generations, but expansion brought conflict. Settlers demanded land, and the federal government often supported their claims. In 1830, Congress passed the Indian Removal Act, strongly supported by President Andrew Jackson. This law authorized the forced relocation of Native American tribes from the southeast to lands west of the Mississippi River. The most tragic result was the Trail of Tears, during which thousands of Cherokee people died while being forced to march west. This policy allowed American expansion to continue but caused immense suffering and long-term injustice for Native American communities. Texas and American settlement. The expansion of the United States also involved growing tension with Mexico. After gaining independence from Spain in 1821, Mexico controlled a vast territory that included present-day Texas. To encourage settlement, Mexico allowed American settlers to move into Texas. Over time, American settlers became the majority population in the region. Cultural differences, language barriers, and disagreements over slavery increased tensions. In 1836, Texas declared independence from Mexico and became the Republic of Texas. For nearly a decade, Texas existed as an independent nation. Many Americans supported its eventual annexation into the United States. Annexation of Texas. In 1845, the United States officially annexed Texas. This decision was highly controversial. Supporters believed annexation would strengthen the nation and fulfill its destiny to expand. Opponents feared it would increase tensions over slavery and lead to war with Mexico. Mexico considered the annexation an act of aggression, particularly because the border between Texas and Mexico was disputed. These tensions soon led to armed conflict. The Mexican-American War in 1846, the Mexican-American War began. The war lasted 2 years and was fought primarily in Mexico and the American Southwest. The United States had superior military resources and ultimately achieved a decisive victory. The conflict ended in 1848 with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Under the treaty, Mexico recognized Texas as part of the United States. Mexico ceded vast territories to the U.S. The U.S. paid Mexico $15 million. The land gained included present-day California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Colorado and Wyoming. This acquisition dramatically increased the size of the United States. The California Gold Rush. Soon after the war, gold was discovered in California in 1848. The discovery triggered the California Gold Rush, drawing hundreds of thousands of people from across the United States and around the world. The rapid population growth led to the development of towns and cities, increased trade and investment. California's admission as a state in 1850. The gold rush strengthened American control over the West and accelerated economic expansion. The Oregon Territory. At the same time, the United States expanded peacefully in the Northwest. The Oregon Territory was jointly occupied by the United States and Great Britain. For many years, both nations avoided conflict. In 1846, the two countries reached an agreement dividing the territory along the 49th parallel. As a result, the United States gained present-day Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. This agreement further expanded American territory without war. The United States by 1850. By 1850, the transformation of the United States was complete. The nation now, extended from the Atlantic to the Pacific, had more than tripled in size, controlled vast natural resources, and had emerged as a major continental power. However, expansion also created serious challenges. Disputes over slavery and new territories increased tensions between North and South. Native American displacement continued. Political divisions deepened. These unresolved issues would eventually lead to the Civil War. Conclusion: the expansion of the United States by 1850 was the result of deliberate policy, economic ambition, population growth, and a strong belief in national destiny. Through land purchases like the Louisiana Purchase, treaties such as the Adams-Onis Treaty, territorial agreements with foreign powers, and wars like the Mexican-American War, the United States reshaped the map of North America. This period of expansion defined the nation's future. It brought opportunity and wealth, but also conflict and injustice. Understanding how America tripled in size helps explain both the achievements and the struggles that shaped the country as history.